Yes, so Hairless here. Today is Pentatonix Day and we are back with My Heart With You. In my last Pentatonix members poll, it was a tie between which next reaction to do, something a bit more fun and upbeat or something a bit calmer and a bit more mellow or slow. Our last Pentatonix reaction was the fun upbeat one, that was Come Along. I really enjoyed that, please do check it out if you haven't already, card will be up here. So for the calmer one, this was recommended to me a lot. Comments were saying they just stand around a light singing, 5-part harmony, no beat or anything. I don't know the song, and I wasn't sure if it was a Pentatonix original. It's not. The original is by a group called The Rescues. I listened to it just now. It's really nice.
And I would wait 100 more.
Because of how it is, Pentatonix could just cover it directly with some added lines here and there, so I'm not going to listen to the original several more times like I usually would. Just from the one listen I had though, there are definitely some parts and some lines in there that do stand out and they bear a lot of harmonic substance. Here are the lyrics on screen, please do have a pause and read through them. They're emotional. Pentatonix do appear to treat this as a Christmas song. I know some people wanted to see a Christmas in July kind of thing, so maybe this counts? Let's get straight into it.
Waited 100 years to see your face, and I would wait 100 more, if only to be near you, to have you and to hear you. Isn't that what time is for? My survive, trust we'll be together soon.
I got goosebumps at that bit, that's why I looked down.
Should our fire turn to dark, take my heart with you.
Alright, it looks like Kevin's coming in and I did hear a low bass part ever so quickly just as I paused. Yeah, really nice. You know that I'm going to be talking about the parts and the harmonies, so let's do our first pause here. If you don't want to hear my analysis or my thoughts, go to the timestamp. The opening, their blend together is mad.
Waited 100 years to see.
That middle part, Mitch, it really sounds like Scott. And then of course we've got Scott quite low down. And Kirsty's part as well at the top.
And I would wait 100 more.
That could be Mitch, it could be. You probably hear me always go on about how the blend is just usually what you want with a cappella singing, where the parts are kind of indistinguishable from each other, especially with a song like this. Really good. The exaggerated breaths. In a cappella singing like this without conductors, breaths are so important. They're a key indicator of when to enter. When you sing, it's not to a metronome. There's no when there's no beat. Again, especially in songs like this, a bit more emotional, a bit more free rhythmically, slowing down, speeding up. There are pauses, there are breaks as well. All these things, so the breaths are just so important. I've had to do an exercise countless times when singing in groups where everyone closes their eyes and then you all have to come in and start singing at the same time. Every single time, without fail, it works because of the breath. Probably a combination of the audible fact of a breath, everyone but who knows, maybe there's some kind of instinct or energy or feeling. So yeah, I like how with this we can really hear the breaths because they are an important part.
To have you and to hear you.
Yeah, sorry, that blend is unreal. We move forward a tiny bit, kind of next phrase, then the voices are now very easy to distinguish by sound, they're a bit clearer. And we're higher up. So if you want an almost indistinguishable blend of Scott, Mitch and Kirsty, you need them singing low down. Sometimes I forget about Mitch's register. We don't hear it too often, at least I haven't. I like the raw sound of this bit as well, how they all exit on slightly different times on the word love. And the combination of voice types they're using too. Kirsty has the most direct sound. It's a blended voice, mostly head voice really. Mitch, yeah, I mean that's in his perfect range for that Mitch blend. And Scott, he's using this airy upper chest voice for a much softer sound. So from Kirsty down to Mitch down to Scott, it's kind of decreasing in power. Well, not power, but directness. When I was younger, I remember learning that volume does not equal power. You can have a very powerful sound where the volume is low. It's all about how direct and focused the sound is. So, that very same bit, My Love, I really like it. I'm going to point out a couple of things. Number one, in the original song, after the first verse,
I sailed 1,000 ships.
At this point, they then sing the second verse. So we finish the first verse and then they come in here. I sailed 1,000 ships. And that's when the bass comes in. Pentatonix go from verse 1 straight down to here. And number 2. Sorry about my background changing. The sun apparently is just going in and out, in and out. Number 2, I just want to speak about those 2 chords on My Love. Super simple, 3-part harmony, moving together homophonically, so each singer just says 2 notes. One for My, one for Love. The online keyboard that I like to use is a bit clunky for something like this. So let's go to the piano. It may sound a little bit out of tune because Pentatonix are actually singing in between true pitches. So you can see they're all a tiny bit under what a piano would be tuned to. This is a perfect example of how as long as you're in tune with each other, it doesn't matter if you're not in tune with the true pitches. Scott and Mitch both move down. Scott by a semitone, Mitch by a tone, and Kirsty moves up by a semitone. Because it's just 3 parts, this chord we move to is a diminished A chord. If we had a 4th part, we could have this, which is C diminished 7th, or this, an F dominant 7. And they are actually quite different from each other, even though there's just 1 note difference. For example, that F dominant 7 chord. You would have heard me talk about dominant 7th chords in previous videos. That's a leading chord, which would then move down 5 notes. Down 5, which would be a completely different feel to this song at this point. So there is an importance to just sticking with 3 voices. Sometimes just 1 more voice has the power to really change or alter the harmonic direction. Even with just 3 voices, look at all the variations of the second chord we could do here. So on My Love, we get this kind of chromatic contrary motion. They're moving in opposite directions. Which then leads into parallel motion, kind of the opposite to that, so they're all falling now together. Falling is usually sad or something moving away or disappearing or going. The lyrics here though, the reason I survive. Them all falling together, they're kind of reinforcing these lyrics. There's a strength to the falling. So yeah, it's quite different. Nice to see. This bit, noticeable dynamic contrast in the swelling, louder than quieter. A hint at what comes next. Power, volume, a rise in pitch. And then we have this parallel falling motion again. But now the lyrics are more expected of music that is falling. Fire turned to dark, the fire disappearing. And then, yeah, again, 3-part harmony. It's just great.
My heart with you.
It might seem simple because there is only so much you can do with 3 notes. But this limiting factor can be a real advantage as well, depending on the song and the context. With this song, it seems that in the 3 parts, one of the parts, fairly often, seems to be static whilst the other ones move. In this case, it's Kirsty.
My heart with you.
And another example earlier, Mitch. Yeah, it's a nice one, isn't it? Alright, let's carry on.
A tattered photograph my pocket holds. I keep you secretly. I studied every line you're etched upon my mind for. Not a million soldiers could take you from me. And my love, the reason I survive, trust we'll be together soon. Should our fire turn to dark, take my heart with you.
A lot of nice things. A lot of nice things. This little bit, these U's, it's almost organ-like. Like, we're 2.5 minutes in. I'm going to do my second pause now because there are some things that I'd like to go over from what we've just heard. Starting with where we carried on. So we get Kevin and Matt coming in. Matt's entry, it seems so much lower than it actually is.
A tattered photograph my pocket holds.
So it's around these notes. The bottom note there, that's the lowest note your choral second bass is typically expected to sing. So still low, but nowhere near as low as it feels. This is only my 4th time hearing Matt. I think I've said it before, but yeah, it seems to be the case. My deduction is that Matt's voice, it's definitely different to Avi. It's more instrumental. He sounds more like an instrument. That would be a better thing or a worse thing depending on the context. But in this case, I think it's a good thing. It blends so well, it's just like this kind of organ pedal at the bottom. Kevin's entry, I think he's singing the same part as Scott, so we have 4-part harmony, not yet 5. When we do get the first real obvious 5-part harmony, it's here, on me. We get rising homophonic parallel motion from everyone.
Could take you from me.
And that's quite a scrunchy chord. If we move all these parts close together, so the main clash here are Matt and Mitch's parts, the 2 M's. And then again, homophonic parallel motion. I guess when we get this, it's a sign that it will always lead into
The reason I survive, trust.
nice chords. Yeah, a really, really lovely cadence. Scott has the suspension there, but then he keeps going. If we build up that chord, and Scott's this part moving here to here, but Mitch is actually singing the note Scott moves to, so it's this. Here, Kirsty and Scott, they're right next to each other. This is real close harmony between the top 3 parts. And then there was another nice moment. It was a really powerful moment. How to really make Scott's part, which is by far the nicest part here, stand out. Well, all the other parts have no change. Like we saw with My Love earlier, 2 chords and they each have 2 notes, so 1 note for each chord. Scott's part. That first interval. That is a major 6th, I always say that's one of my favourite intervals. And the middle 2 notes. These 2. They're just decoration. It's embellishment, it's not necessary. Really, the journey of Scott's part is just going a chromatic inflection. But we can all agree going when the other parts aren't moving. It's a bit more interesting, it's different, it's variety, and maybe because I love that interval, it's very, very nice. And then one more thing, which is just here before we carry on. The words fire turned to dark.
Fire turned to dark.
This is the second time hearing this falling parallel motion, and last time I pointed out from falling, descending music, usually what we'd expect from the lyrics. This time it is falling, mostly. The bass part, Matt, he's rising against everyone else falling.
Fire turned.
And Kevin, he's static on one note. So whilst the overall motion is falling, in these additional two parts, Kevin and Matt, we also have static motion and rising motion. But then all parts do fall on the words too dark. As we might expect from falling music, the fire has now become nothing. Alright, let's go from that really nice bit. They were singing you. Goosebumps.
We'll be together soon. Should our fire turn to dark, take my heart with you. Take my heart with you. Take my heart with you.
Pentatonix here, wishing you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, only 5 months away. Yeah, that's a nice one. It is a nice one. Let's go over some final points where we carried on. Yeah, super nice. I literally have no shame anymore in using the word nice all the time. Then the second time round, Kevin comes in and his part... He's the part that goes... in that straight tone voice of his that just blends so perfectly. And Mitch's part is actually... You know what? Cue Hairless from the future just for those U's on piano in organ mode. The organ is really going to bring out the dissonances, the suspensions. And then that leads into another really nice bit. We get this major opening up. All parts contribute, but it's Kirsty who has the leading tone. So we'd expect her to go, but instead she goes, and it's that second note. Based on the harmony we've been hearing before, this is now higher. It's one semitone up, it's brighter. And then she does return back down. Which is the note that we would have expected. So her return to that note, what is its purpose? Well, we hear this chord, and then her note turns it into a dominant 7th chord. As we briefly mentioned earlier, we'd then expect the next chord to be 5 notes down, which would then be... which we get now in 3-part harmony. And then towards the end, they turn up the Imogen Heap levels.
My heart will hear on walls.
They love it, don't they? And I love the delicate phrasing, how delicately they're singing. The amount of air that comes through when they come off. Delicate, and it shows how emotionally they're singing as well. And they end with a 2nd inversion chord, so we don't have the root note at the bottom, we have the 5th note at the bottom. Instead of, we have this. I mentioned this in my last Jeff Castellucci reaction, which was Wicked Game, where he ended like that, and in that I said Pentatonix did that in a recent video. I just called to say I love you. They end in the same way. Well, I mean, thank you to everyone who recommended this for a calmer one. Really, really nice. 5 people, but making great use of whether to have 3, 4 or 5 parts at any one time. Lovely harmonies, lovely arrangement, lovely original song as well. Maybe Christmas in July is a good thing after all. Alright, let's leave this one there. Thank you as always for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, join the community and vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the YouTube membership or Patreon, links below, and I will see you next time.